All right. So, how many blue cards can we put in a Boros deck before it stops being a Boros deck? Hello, folks. Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU, here for another modern video. We're going to play a decent amount of modern this week as we're kind of in the legacy ban room waiting time. And today we're going to be playing with Redman's Boros Energy deck. This is Boros with a little asterisk here, as there is actually one main deck blue card and a few sideboard blue cards. Boros decks, generally speaking, are pretty darn good in Modern. The energy shell is very good. We see that coming through in Legacy quite a bit, but this is a different take on things today. This is an Aether Vial deck, and we're going to see how that feels. My general opinion on Aether Vial has gone down a lot over the years. More and more answers have been printed to artifacts and enchantments, and there was a time when an artifact or enchantment got in play that it felt very sticky and hard to get rid of in game one, and that's just simply not true anymore. There are so many different flexible cards like Brazen Borrower and Prismatic Ending and Teferi that can just answer an artifact or enchantment, at least temporarily, in game ones now. We are a little different from something like Boros Energy in that we're not super low to the ground. There's 27 creatures here, and then some other things like Fable of the Mirrorbreaker that are pseudo creatures, but like as far as stuff that is inexpensive, there is not a lot of it. And so that is why Vile is happening here. We have some interactive early game plays, but sometimes in the early game, we're just going to hope to Solitude plus Ephemerate to get the game kicked off. I am a little worried that we come out of the gates too slow. Phelia into any number of these 3-drops is a pretty strong opening, but I don't know if we have enough to get us out of the early game into that mid to late game where all of our flicker nonsense is going to shine. We're going to have the ability to copy all of these value creatures. We're going to be able to bring Phlage back from the graveyard, and we have a couple sources of recursive blink. So there is a lot to like here. There is one new Final Fantasy card in the list. I've seen this in a couple of modern lists. Lightning Army of One. First Strike, Trample, Lifelink. Decent smattering of keywords there. Most importantly, whenever it deals combat damage to a player, until your next turn, if a source would deal damage to a player or a permanent that player controls, it deals double that damage instead. So that can mean that your Phlage trigger that you do post-combat can hit really, really hard. And if you are doing something like Goblin Bombardment, hypothetically, that's where I have seen this previously, that can turn it into a hell of a way to drain your opponents out. I have not made any changes to the submitted deck list other than I changed one utility land into one more Sacred Foundry in respect of Phlage's red, white escape cost. As far as stuff in the sideboard goes, we do have a few ways to deal with colorless things with our blue mana, but otherwise, a lot of this is what you might expect from a Boros deck as far as the sideboard goes. So let's hop into this. Let's see how this performs. Folks, if you need any Magic cards, please consider checking out my sponsor, TOAMagic.com, to support me. Promo code ThrabenU will save you 5% on your order, and you always get free shipping as well. If you're going to go to an upcoming in-person event that's pretty large and they're going to be there, you can place your order online in advance and pick it up on site. And they're pretty generous with how late they will let you do online pickup. It's not like I just had to look last minute and get some cards for Vegas or anything. Not me, I planned far in advance. But TOA had my back, even if I didn't. With that being said, let's battle. All right, we are light on mana here. We'll be mulliganing this one. The second hand I'll keep, but I sure am not too happy about it. If I Solitude Pitching Flicker Wisp and Ephemerate something, I don't have any gas left for the mid-game. So we do have Solitude, and it will probably be good here. The question is, do I need to Solitude immediately, or can I wait a turn cycle? I probably need to Solitude immediately. So I'm just going to do this and pass. It's not like the Vial is going to be good anyway. Maybe we can loot it away with a Fable of the Mirrorbreaker or something. All right, land 2. Float mana, then fetch. No takesy backsies on the mana. We're using it. 17. Corey Steelcutter. Prowess trigger. Is there a free spell? There is a free spell. So now my opponent gets a monk. Now we'll do the thing. This can just be a basic. I'm going to Solitude, pitch Flicker Wisp, going to exile Monastery Swiftspear. Then I will ephemerate my Solitude. I will exile that monk token. But this 1-for-1 removal does not line up well versus Corey Steelcutter. And I have nothing else going on right now. So hopefully I gain a bunch of life here before my opponent finds a Lightning Bolt effect or another creature. I will not be rebounding this. Skyclave is alright. That answers the Corey Steelcutter. Phlage is fine as well. Let's top that. Play Vial. Crash in for 3. My opponent will have 5 cards in hand. There is a very good chance that they are going to play 2 cards this turn. EI is great. Aesthetically, the white-bordered EI feels wrong to me. Preordained to exile, which my opponent can cast and then get a new monk. Going down to 16 in order to do so. And I am getting cracked by the monk. We can start ticking up a Vial, but this is a very long way away from doing something. Which one of these do I play first? I think about it while I attack. 13. I think it's just the Skyclave. I think I am going to take a little damage here to ensure that I have red if I draw a basic Plains. I think I have something like 4 of in the deck, so it's not too unlikely that that would happen. Damn it! I just solved one of those. That Lightning Bolt? That is Final Fantasy Lightning Bolt. Okay, got it. I take 5 this turn. 8 that. So I'm at 14. Vial ticks up. With 1 more mana, that's pretty interesting. If I think I can wait a turn, I can Phlage, kill one of those, ephemerate Phlage, kill another one. There's also ephemerating Skyclave. This is 4 cards in graveyard. I think I am just going to play... well, this will be 3, this is 4. I'm just going to play Phlage, kill a monk, hopefully. Unless my opponent casts 2 spells here. That's a Lava Dart. Alright, so they're going to Lava Dart my Skyclave to save their monk token. And I'll still gain the life, but I don't actually kill that. That's rough. I am taking at minimum 6 damage. Fucking yikes. I would have gotten massively blown out if I went for an Ephemerate line with Skyclave. Yeah, Corey Steelcutter just makes single target removal like I was trying to do ineffective. That is 5 monk tokens spread across 3 Corey Steelcutters. Oh god, yeah. Literally dead, even before we consider the second Lava Dart happening. Like, 3 of those monk tokens is already lethal. -10. Pyroclasm seems fine for monks. Don't want Blood Moons. Clarion Conqueror shutting off the activated ability is not really where I need to be. Deafening Silence, I suppose, is a thing. That helps with the Corey Steelcutter, but it's kind of a pseudo-removal spell, right? I'm going to go Magus out. I think I'm not going to sweat my blue mana here. Phantom feels like whatever. Then maybe just go down 1 3-drop of some kind. Yeah, we'll go down 1 3-drop of some kind. This is a fine set of Magic the Gathering cards. We'll see how strong it ends up being. I am going to start on a basic, and we'll go from there. 18, not immediate damage. Good. In theory, I'm going to try to set up like Phelia into Fable. Lightning can come too. I don't have my 3rd land drop guaranteed though. Currently looking at pitching one of these 2 3-drops to a Solitude if my opponent plays an aggressive play this turn. Lightning has lifelink, which is cool, but my opponent overkilled me by 10 last game on like turn 5. It may just be that the utility of Recruiter is better than other stuff. If my opponent is passing with Lightning Bolt available here, I think I'm not going to give them a good chance to do it. And I think I'm just going to try to find another mana source for Fable and make better use of my Vial. So let's Surveil. I do not want to draw that. An opponent can take a peek at what I am drawing. Redraw? Okay, fantastic. So I'm going to do the one of these that is best versus a single target removal spell. All right, there's the Lightning Bolt that I had the read on. An opponent is cantripping on their own turn. Land drop 3. If opponent is not playing any threats, their hand must be very controlling. 15. That is a, what is this? Plotted Slick Shot Show Off. Got it. Activate. Yes. Phelia. This is going to go up to 3. I will discard the land. Do I discard lightning? I'm going to discard land and lightning. Phlage. Sure. I'm going to Recruiter. I'm going to say yes. I'm just going to pick up a Flicker Wisp here. Gives me really good options. I'm going to send on in. I'm going to Flicker Recruiter of the Guard. Opponent goes to 13. At end step here, I'll do this. I'll say yes. I'll pick up like a Skyclave. That's fine. That's fine. I think I'm going to let my opponent do their stuff and then decide what actions I'm going to take. So this is +2/+0. This does not give additional toughness, so I could just like Vial in Phlage here super reasonably. Next land drop. Oh yeah, you've got friends. Yeah, let's activate this. Say yes. Phlage is a great way to spend my mana if I draw a land. Let's just take that out. I have Fable of the Mirror Breaker coming. I have to respect a potential Lightning Bolt. This can stay at 3, I think. Very nice. So Fable goes up. I'll take 2 and then escape Phlage. That takes my whole graveyard, but seems fine. Phlage can kill a DRC. Opponent's going to take out Phelia in response. You can Surveil. Alright, opponent is just fine with conceding there. That's okay with me. I still had a Flicker Wisp available. I could have protected the Phelia. I could have let it go and just recruited for something else. Had plenty of options there. Well, that felt pretty good. Let's do stuff like that again. But let's keep in mind that my opponent spun their wheels there and did not really put any pressure on me until like the penultimate turn, which allowed me to set up all my mid-rangey blinky bullshit. Elegant Parlor as the land there is really rough. That means I can't even Vial on 1. I think I say no to that. I think if that's an untapped land, I keep that hand. Yikes. So this is single land. This isn't viable. I'm going to 5. 5 is not great. I will be keeping the 5. I think we do something that looks like this. I think I'm going to go for 2 prismatic endings to get me out of the early game. Let's see how bad it is. I have ending for something like Monastery Swiftspear, followed by Quarry Steelcutter. But the expressive iteration type things that give my opponent card advantage are going to eat me alive after my double mulligan. All right, 19. I did draw something else to do with my mana in the early game, so that's nice. And we'll just ending away this creature. We are hoping to dodge Quarry Steelcutter and Expressive Iteration. There is Quarry Steelcutter. There's the follow-up play. And I'm going to get smacked for 2. 16. And my opponent can cycle, pick up a new card. So I will answer the Quarry Steelcutter. And then hopefully some of this mid-range stuff is enough. I fully don't mind the remaining land here. And I think just grab a basic mountain. Really? There's no basic mountain in the mana base. Alright. I've changed my mind. White and red. Take out the steel cutter. Probably a deck building mistake to not have a basic mountain in the mana base somewhere. I'm going to take 5 this turn. Having used 2 removal spells already, by the way. 15. I am at 8. Flicker Wisp is okay. Pyroclasm. Great if it works. What I'm kind of afraid is going to happen is that I am just going to like play Phelia in an attempt to block this 1/1 monk. It's 2/2 monk. And my opponent will just like lightning bolt the Phelia. Or maybe just lightning bolt my face and kill me. I might be blocking the larger monk just to save life. Uh-huh. This is now 4 creatures that get to attack in. It's a lava dart to my face. And with flashback, my opponent's just got things covered. If I block this, I am still taking 8. I am dead before I can get to that Pyroclasm to kill 4 creatures. That is literally dead on turn 4 through 2 removal spells, which is honestly pretty impressive. GG's. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com. If you want to see upcoming sets, if you want to understand commander brackets, or if you just want an awesome place to store all, and I mean all, of your deck lists, Moxfield is the place. You can organize all of your decks by folders, and you can even change the views. You like visual, they've got that. You like text, they've got that. Check out my Moxfield Pro Field if you want to see all, and I mean all, of the decks that I've been cooking up. All right, I am keeping a honestly mediocre hand here. I'm just going to assume this hits me for 2 at some point. I'm going to try to get an Aether Vial ticking up early and see if that gives me what I need to kind of get over the metaphorical hump. I can use one of the 2 Elegant Parlors to try to select for something that either interacts with my opponent or that I can dump in off of Vial. Otawara, and pass the turn. Alright, Phlage is not bad. So now, do I want to cast Phelia? I'm going to do one of these instead. Magus of the Moon. I'm going to take that. I don't know exactly what I am playing against, but that's a non-basic land. Blooded Strand. Basic land, unfortunately for me. Ending is fine. So, I will fetch my basic planes. And I am going to play a Magus of the Moon that I do not expect to stay here the entire game. My opponent already has an appropriate color of mana off of basic. So this cuts me off of a Phlage in the short term. But later on, I can just play Phelia, blink out my Magus, and then cast Phlage with Escape. Alright, no fear, we attack. Alright, success. I don't get Surveil value off of this now, but I can make it come in untapped. I think I'm just playing a 2/2 dude. I could also just hold up Ephemerate. Yeah, I'm going to hold up Ephemerate and Phelia. Path to Exile. Yeah, let's protect that. And there's not a window for my opponent to make blue here. But we have forced a Solitude. You've got it. That means that I can Phelia with this mana, though. But it does mean that I don't get the basic. Opponent surveils and likes their card. This is not a very good Phelia. I don't have something cool to blink. If this just trades with a counter spell, I am good with that. Whereas that is a pretty solid Recruiter. Very nice. Phelia? Phelia. I'll take 3 off of that and then have the ability to cast this. I don't know the format well enough to know whether or not I need to play around Snapcaster Spell Snare. And it's just better to cast it now. Thing is, I don't super care if this does get countered because I just have Phlage coming. Ooh, there's a path. I will get a basic plains. This is not castable, which is a shame because it would be damn good right now. 16, and I'll send a lightning helix at my opponent's face. Whichever one of us gets a source of card advantage first is going to be very favored here. So, like, my fables are great. Field of Ruin is fine. If I draw a fetch land, I can just get my blue. Well, send in for 1. 12. I think I'm going to hold that for Fable. There are Snapcasters, so now my opponent gets Snapcaster Brain Surge. I am very quickly falling behind. I have a life total lead, but that's the only advantage that I have, I think. Second Field of Ruin. Shit. I know Jace is not in his glory days anymore, but damn. On an empty board, Jace still feels pretty darn good. It's another Sacred Foundry, too. I'm gonna play one. Now it's like obvious that I don't have anything. Rip me. Good old-fashioned Jace doing Jace shit. Oh no. So now there's 2 active planeswalkers plus a defensive creature here. I feel dead. I think I'm playing this as a land. And I think I'm just gonna hold this and try to play more spells in one turn. Glorian Reveal not used as hard draw here. Opponent just very clearly confident based on what they have in their hand. And they untap 2 lands. Alright. Yeah. Yeah. Shock. Blue, white, white. That is a cryptic command. Honestly, just happy for the opponent at this point. I'll attempt Phlage. And my opponent gave me this, so they are probably comfortable answering it. You ultimate at 8. I'm going to doink the Snapcaster so that Recruiter of the Guard can theoretically give love taps. And so that my opponent can't Jace minus get back Path to Exile. Doink to Fairy. Opponent doesn't even flinch. Opponent's deck is cool. I think, conceding to that. My opponent has a billion cards, 2 active planeswalkers near ultimating. They've got this one. So this shuts off planeswalkers. I am in for that. My opponent does have Solitude. I have some value-oriented creatures that I could think about. Great. Have I imprinted a Blood Moon on my screen? Excellent. I'm probably going to need to restart my client to get rid of that. Cool. I'm going to get rid of Magus of the Moon. I don't think I need that. There's cards under here that I want, right? Okay. All right, there it goes. If I am boarding in Clarion Conqueror, I wonder if I can get away with this. Actually, Prismatic Ending is not that great. Miser's Aether Vial. If I draw it, cool. Otherwise, it's whatever. This is fine. Untapping with Creature Ephemerate is quite good. And I think a lot of the time, I'm not going to have super aggressive starts anyway. I'm going to be a bad magic player and just be lazy here. Yeah, that can go directly to graveyard. Opponent goes to 18. And just passes, meaning that I can just deploy a land and pass right back. So they've either got a counterspell or a white removal spell in hand that they thought it was worth paying 2 life to represent. Opponent likes their card once again. I think I am into just playing Recruiter of the Guard and using my mana here. And then I'm just going to find something that is a reasonable ephemerate target. I'm going to board it out, that Magus of the Moon. It honestly could just be another Recruiter. And we play that very slow, value-oriented game. Okay, opponent is pathing this. I'll pick up a basic Plains. I've got another one in the deck. If my opponent starts using the Field of Ruin type cards, they can get their value. I can Skyclave that if I want. I'm not really sure that that's better than other options. Because like this can hit a Jace later on. Trigger. Yes. I'm just going to keep doing this till it doesn't make sense anymore. Make my land drop and pass. This is going to be an Elegant Parlor, and then this will be my blue land. Archive. Fetch. Parlor. Solitude. I don't think I need. I would like that more than a land, but less than something like a Phelia. Well, that's interesting. White, white, white. Opponent takes 1. I am going to attempt to throw down a Magus of the Moon. Opponent's just going to float some mana. And then I'll try to change phases here. They're going to path that. I am going to attempt to say no to that. So I have countered path. Nice. I'm going to leave Ephemerate up as another counterspell to protect Magus. There's Field of Ruin. Cool. So now I just get to Ephemerate with Rebound. I will blink the recruiter and hopefully just go wild as far as value is concerned. Lightning is cool. I don't want something that has 2 white pips. This is a lot of damage when my opponent is stumbling. This is a 3-turn clock. Ooh, very nice. Now I can play lightning. Sorry, this recruiter is not attacking in this turn. It's still probably a 3-turn clock. Snapcaster is, I guess, weird. Why did I think haste was one of the words on this? Ignore everything I said about the clock. Alright. So there's Snapcaster. The opponent can block. And then I will just blink this to take it out of combat. The opponent forced me to use my Ephemerate, but now I have a shit ton of power. My opponent does not have white mana. I've got some looting. Brain Surge can give my opponent some looks at basic lands. There is a Solitude. So because I attacked in for 2 damage and was forced to use my Ephemerate, I now don't get to protect my Magus of the Moon. But that is hopefully just going to be fine. What are we getting? Just get Phelia. Mana efficient. So notably here, Lightning does have first strike. So if this gets through for damage, it will deal 4 damage. Get rid of Sacred Foundry. I'll keep the rest of the stuff. That's just worth 6 to the dome. That's not bad. So I think I'm going to Skyclave, attempt to get Snapcaster out of the way. I don't super care about this Rest in Peace if I just get 6 damage to face out of Phlage. So goodbye Snapcaster. Go to Punchies. Send in. So there's Lightning's first strike for 3. Then the Fable token hits for 4. Then I will cast a Phlage. That's 6 to face. Opponent is at 4. They need a Terminus style card to wipe the board, at which point I will still have Phelia plus Fable of the Mirror Breaker. That's a Brain Surge. Alright, we put a win on the board there. Yeah, I guess I didn't board out that Magus. Didn't have too awful many things to board in. Okay. This is, I suppose, fine. Single land probably doesn't do it for me here. I'm going to go ahead and mulligan. This is perfectly fine. I will fish the Skyclave out of the deck later when I am ready for it. Ah, it's a Colonnade. Look at that relic. I've killed a lot of people with that magic card. Not in Legacy, obviously. Though I imagine I played some Blue-White Miracles lists back in the day that had that as like a singleton threat. My opponent is in the tank about something now. They're thinking about whether or not they're tapping out for a Rest in Peace or holding up a counterspell or what. I'm not sure what is difficult on turn 2 on their end. Basic planes and pass. I don't really want to not represent Phelia this turn, so even though I could just like Sacred Foundry tapped, I think that gives my opponent too much freedom to just cast spells when they otherwise might hold up mana. I think I might get some virtual card advantage by just chilling here. Alright. Now I'm going to take 2. And we will start playing Magic the Gathering cards, and we'll see what happens. Actual Factual Counterspell is not available right now. 4th land drop. No Jace, which is cool. I'm going to junk a Phlage. Most of the rest of this other stuff is good. I'm just going to junk 2 Phlages. I think there's a decent chance my opponent has a Rest in Peace in hand. Can't prove it. Feels possible. Riptych Command is available this turn, which is a little awkward. I think this is my bait. Like, counter this, bounce this is very good. But then I have the thing that is best versus Planeswalkers, and another thing that is pretty good against Planeswalkers. Yes. I will just do this tapped. Call it a turn. Alright. 2 cards in graveyard for Phlage. That is a Teferi. Clarion Conqueror, not bad versus that. Hasty Alesh Norn, not bad versus that either. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We're doing this one. I need to do this first. So go for Alesh Norn. In play, I'm going to send at Teferi. Alright, there's Path. I am going to attempt to Ephemerate and protect that. I succeed, but the attack is fogged. Land drop from my opponent. Teferi does Teferi stuff. Again, 8 is the problem number. Fuck, Supreme Verdict, very good there. Yep. So now my opponent could theoretically have something like a Cryptic Command available. 4 cards in graveyard towards Phlage. Another one. All right. Actual factual counterspell. I am in bad shape. I lose the game to that emblem. I just don't realistically think I beat that. Fairy only gains 1 loyalty a turn. I have a little time, but not a lot. Opponent again using Lorien Revealed just as mana, which means they've got gas. Oh, we're brain surging in response to the Teferi trigger at end of turn. I'm gonna try this Hasty Eleshnorn thing again. I want to live in this world where I get double Phlage triggers, because that feels like a way to beat this Teferi. That is a Path to Exile. So Teferi is going to go to 8. I think one more counterspell does me in. So there's the plus to 8. Opponent has plenty of mana, plenty of cards. That's rough. That's rougher. An opponent is just going to try to eliminate my outs to stopping the Teferi. Seems good. Yeah, I mean, this is my out, is to blink it and buy time. That'll do. I can play a 2/2 and then die to this emblem and or the Jace. That was a good game of Magic. Opponent's deck was sweet. GG's. All right. This is a little bit of a risky hand here. It is quite good if I hit another land drop, I think. If I don't, we take a turn off before we kind of go White-Hearted Phantom into Terza off of Vial. And then Terza can kind of loot through some of this stuff and get to the point where Phlage does something cool. We've got Urza's Saga and a Changeling. Mox Jasper for Dragon and Emery. Okay. Emery hits no artifacts. Land for White Orchid Phantom. Lees. Damn. So their Saga gets to tick up. And if they have another land drop, they get 1 Urza Saga construct token out of this. Or just more artifact mana. Or both. Alright, everybody is just rumbling. I don't have a 1-drop, so that's fine. That works. File goes to 2. I hit my land drop now. Now my opponent will make their thing. I'll activate this. Say yes. Put in the Phantom. Destroy the Urza Saga. I can Flicker Wisp away this token that they're going to make. And neither one of these two things is doing much. So I probably take 5-ish damage on this turn. And then am probably stable. Still some degree of risk here. I think I am comfortable just taking the hit. That's 11, 10 after I fetch for a Surveil land. Yeah. Elegant Parlor. I'm fine with that. Because that's just going to let me deploy multiple 3-drops here. Just Phlage? Just gain 3 life, kill Emery? Seems fine. This could theoretically be countered. But like it's a Phlage, it'll come back later. There is also shutting this off so that Mox Jasper isn't real. But I think there is a better chance that Emery is annoying. Would I care if I got hit for 1? I don't think I would care if I get hit for 1. Yeah. 18. An opponent presumably has a Surveil land. I don't know whether or not their deck is green. Ooh, Song of Creation. That is a spicy meatball. Wonder if this color matters more than I thought. Yeah, I might need to blink that out. Boy. I want to try to let this be and answer it next turn. Alright, land drop. When it sends in, I will interact here. Flicker Wisp the construct away. And then I can Recruiter for Skyclave to permanently solve this problem. My opponent is discarding their hand. Cool. More Song of Creation. Got it. This stays on 3. Ursa. Send in for 5 in the air. 15, then 12. Play Recruiter. Pick up Skyclave. Activate. This was admittedly a very good Aether Vial. And say goodbye to Song of Creation. So 3 of these Song of Creations have been answered now. And I'm going to kill my opponent in roughly 2 turns. We're at 11. Tersa in for 3 additional damage next turn. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. But my opponent has 1 blocker. Emery. Thassa's Oracle, huh? Can we just manually draw our deck via Song of Creation? Or is there a loop? Which Enchanter is mid? Lightning is combat damage, right? Does not have haste. Get a Soulherder going. Let's just look at my deck and figure it out. I'm gonna put in Recruiter and leave the ability to cast Tersa if I want. Might just be solituding an Emery and crashing in. I'm in for that. Don't give my opponent access to that zone. Goodbye, Emery. Hello, Tersa. Junk Tersa. Pick up a land. Send in with everybody. Opponent is at 1. Hey, there we go. I have Deafening Silences, right? Yeah. So Deafening Silence is fine. Blood Moon is a thing that I am legally allowed to do against Urza's Saga. Clarion Conqueror is very actively good. White Orchid Phantom feels good. I don't think I am into Consign. I'm going to go Magus out. Not going to think about my blue mana. Let's sort this at this stage. This is 64. I feel like I could probably just trim some stuff and end up in an okay place. Oh, love this. Absolutely love this. So I have an Ephemerate, potentially to just pitch to a Solitude. I have a Deafening Silence. The Deafening Silence is very notably better when I am on the play. But hopefully this is still fine. 17. Tamiyo's in there too. You got it. Yeah, I think I am just nuking Tamiyo on site, even though it potentially gets eaten by Clarion Conqueror later on. And I'm just going to grab a basic and downgrade my opponent's combo potential. There is Mox Amber and an Emery. Universal Automaton to graveyard. Land drop. Only 2 cards remaining in opponent's hand. I'm gonna turn this into a Surveil land. So if opponent doesn't do something crazy on their next turn here, I think Clarion Conqueror comes down and wrecks my opponent. Like it's gonna shut off 1, 2, 3 cards here. You may have your Automaton. That doesn't spook me. It is essentially free though. So that's my opponent's 1 non-creature. Repeal. That's a good one to know about. Let's grab an Elegant Parlor. I don't think I need Phelia. Phelia is average. Phelia can be Phlage food. We'll go to 16 and slam the Conqueror. No, 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 and no. Very nice. And then hopefully I just mid-range my way to victory from here. Opponent is not even going to make me play it out from there. That was a devastating 1-2 punch against this specific deck. Way to go, sideboard cards. GG. I believe that's our first match win on the board. Although our losses were reasonable. I don't know that I am willing to keep this specific Aether Vial hand. It has 2 lands, but 2 of the things that I want to put in are non-creatures, and one of the things that is a creature disappears. I am getting a feel for this deck. It's slow. Unquestionably, it's slow. But once I get into the mid game, it does do a lot of work, and like maybe I draw a land drop between my next 2 draw steps. On turn 3, I play a Fable. I Flicker Wisp that Fable. I have double Shaman tokens, and I do crimes, and like it's cool and stuff. Oh, I'm a fucking idiot. Sacred Foundry. Ragavan. Alright, well, Ragavan gets to hit me. And my Vial is 1 turn slower than it should be. Because I clicked on the wrong land. They Levite. Why aren't we playing Ragavan? Real talk. Why aren't we playing Ragavan? Like, is Ragavan just better Aether Vial? I can get a Phelia. Seems good. Phelia keeps me off of Vial forever. Arena of Glory. An opponent is just going to take the Phelia. And Ocelot Pride. Well, shit. That's not castable. So this Vial could be at 2, at which point I have a blocker for some of this stuff this specific turn. I'm going to concede here. I think I just punted this one. Physically clicked on the wrong land. Yeah. Magus out. Let's not sweat the blue mana. From there, most cards are reasonable. I think I'm going to go down some vials. This seems fine. I have a prismatic ending for my opponent's first creature that they play out, and then I go into Fable or Recruiter and start trying to do mid-range stuff. Oh, it's a theater. We've got an extra color here. No immediate creature means that I don't use my mana super efficiently here, which is awkward. White mana and a Ajani. I'm going to attempt to be as mana efficient as possible here. I think I can leave this on the table for a turn because I can just prismatic ending it, even if it becomes a planeswalker. And I can, in theory, have 5 mana next turn. I'll take that hit. 18. That is Goblin Bombardment. The opponent sends at my face for 1. Makes a cat. They have a red permanent, so they get to eat my Goblin Shaman token. Or not. And we got a Surveil land. Oh wait, sorry, it's number of creatures, right? Yeah, number of creatures you control. JK, they can't eat my Goblin Shaman token, but they could have over 2 activations destroyed this. I'm going to say yes to this. I'm going to loot my other Fable and the Solitude. That's not really what I wanted to see. I'll send in at opponent's face here, see if they want to trade the cat token. I'm going to do this before they know that I'm just going to remove this planeswalker. So they take it. I'll go ending for red and white, and then I'll drop a recruiter. Kind of interested in lightning, but I think I'm just going to get more removal. Then I have Witch Enchanter for Goblin Bombardment. I have Skyclave for something else that comes next. I'll have the ability to Fable, copy Recruiter, hopefully. Got haste on something. A Voice of Victory. That is a lot of fucking damage. And a Najani, both of which get haste. Well, shit. There's the advantage of being low to the ground. Wow. So my opponent makes 2 tokens. Those tokens are going to trade with my Recruiter one way or another. So I guess I will just fucking block 1. Ugh. Alright. So opponent is going to ping my Shaman, make a cat. That goes at my face. Then they ping and finish the Shaman. So there's 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 plus Ajani plus Bombardment available next turn. I get to play 1 spell, so I can answer one of these 2 problems, and then these are still there. I Phlage this, I go to 10. I guess this is the way that I stay alive. Maybe. This just increases my life total. Can I Phlage Ajani? Is that fine? 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage plus 5 more throwing with Goblin Bombardment. That's not really fine. I think I'm just kind of losing to everything here. My opponent can also just, like, sack this, throw it at my face. I don't gain the life. Yikes. Yeah, I'm just done. I guess it was Ajani, so that can't happen. But I think either way, my opponent kills me there. GG. Opponent has revealed Devourer of Destiny to kick off the game here. Hey, you still get to Sowing Mycospawn in this format. Sounds good. So, I have a Solitude for an initial threat. Nice, holy shit, that was important. Now I have something that can help keep my opponent off of Tron. My opponent's Natural Relic of Progenitus means that Phlage is pretty much never coming back from the graveyard unless my opponent cycles it for a card. Ugin's Labyrinth. There's the Devourer of Destiny. And I guess now I have a choice about, like, which one of these lands I am trying to knock my opponent off of. This is 2 mana immediately. This is 2 mana later, but might be worth quite a bit. My opponent just gets his card back. I think I'm going to hit the Ugin's Labyrinth. This doesn't full-on deny a mana, assuming that my opponent has a basic land. Well, I mean, it kind of denies a mana, right? Like, it could have tapped 4-2. Alright, Phlage back on the table. I'd now love to find an Ephemerate. It's a tower. That's scary. And a Talisman. And a new relic. Phlage off again. Are we just getting in? I'm okay with just getting in. That'll bring me to 18 to do that. I will get rid of Phlage. Recruiter is very slow here. Recruiter gets me stuff that I want. But it's slow. Alright, Ephemerate is awesome. Hopefully my opponent does not assemble Tron immediately. Opponent's at 15. Get rid of Fable. That's gonna do it. Opponent has tapped and untapped mana a few times. That is Sowing Mycospawn. So Tron assembled. And not only that, but it's Tron with a little bit of backup. Don't love that. Even assuming that I blow one of these up, it's still just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana next turn. Have any cool silver bullet here? Magus of the Moon. Magus is cool but slow. Alright. Send them on in. I think I'm into this. Take out the Sowing Mycospawn. I think let that go. Just leverage the combat step normally. Yeah. Yes. Recruiter. Yes. Pick up Magus of the Moon. So now if my opponent searches for something like Eye of Ugin, is that legal in this format? If they search for a mana sink, I can disrupt Tron. Now that they have cracked this. Sanctum of Ugin. That's on the cast. Okay. So now I will turn an Urza land into a forest. I will not. It was just full-on land destruction. Excellent. So there's the Sanctum. Opponent has 6 mana available. Junk a card from my graveyard. Now I get the Rebound. And I now know that this is just a full-on land destruction spell, so I'll take this. Even though that means that I'm not attacking here. Take out another Urza land. Alright, that's good enough for the concession. They know that I have Magus of the Moon coming as well. Honestly feel like I got a little lucky there. This is for Sowing Mycospawn. This is for lands. This is for lands. Honestly, like, this is probably fine for the mana rocks. And it can hit the new Ugin as well. I'm just generically cutting Soulherder a lot of the time. Lightning is cool burst damage. I'm probably into keeping that. Ephemerate plus White Orchid Phantom or Phelia. Or rather, White Orchid Phantom plus a Blink effect is pretty good in this matchup. My opponent doesn't have as many basics as I was expecting. I get rid of Skyclave. I'm going to go down a Flicker Wisp. Can't go down Recruiters. I need them to find these. And Magus, I think. Ending is cool if it works. Might not be worth it overall. Try something in this ballpark. Could be that my Vials could go as well. This feels slow. On turn 4, I can start blowing up lands or playing Magus of the Moon. That's like fine. I only have 2 of these to naturally find. What a mulligan. Doesn't do anything for this specific matchup. A mulligan again. This is probably the best hand so far. I am willing to keep this one. 1 Phelia goes back for sure. And then I think I'm going to junk the land and just hope I find another. So it's a little awkward here that I have 1 fetch land, because I have blue counterspells in my deck now that I need to be cognizant of. What goes to exile? Okay. We have mine into map. Ephemerate not doing me any favors here. That's just going to be turn 3 Tron that I probably don't get to disrupt. Hate that. Ursa can go to graveyard. Better lucky than good, I guess. So this now has the possibility of White Orchid Phantom plus Phelia or Ephemerate. Opponent can crack their map. Picks up a forest and a new mine. Alright, opponent plays mine. As much as I want to get Phelia going, I think I am just Ephemerating my White Orchid Phantom on my opponent's upkeep. Just don't want to risk them naturally having the Tron. There's 3 mana at instant speed here. Oh, it's just Kozilek's command. Absolutely. I guess it was correct to blink this with that on the stack, but I was thinking about their not informing their decision-making process, but there could be something like Dismember that happens as a result of that. The opponent bottomed their card, and now I have shuffled their bad card back into their deck, so IDK. Alright, there's Power Plant, so they would have had it if I did not disrupt it. Well, they've got it again. The opponent has 3 mana available. Talisman. I have kept them from casting something big. And I can go ahead and rebound this here. This is the point where these do start to be actual land destruction spells. 3 of the mines are now in the graveyard. Okay, cool. This is useful. Fetch. I'm going to get the blue. I'm going to throw down Clarion Conqueror. That denies 2 mana here. And then from here, hopefully I can just get like a Phelia going, and Phelia, White Orchid Phantom, takes over the game. Ugin's Labyrinth. Power of Destiny under there. The opponent has 6 mana available. That's a Karn, but its activated abilities cannot be activated. So that's nice. I think I am going to kill it just in case this stuff falls apart. Yeah. Like, I would very much like to ignore that and just go after my opponent's life total. But my opponent definitely has removal in their deck. Alright, there is another land. That is 7 mana. And there's Ugin. My opponent gets to take out my Clarion Conqueror, which unlocks these 2 permanents. My opponent draws a card. Now I'm going to lose White Orchid Phantom. Obviously bad. I'll take 3 from Sowing Myco Spawn. Ugin's very strong. And I don't get to just Skyclave away that one. Absolute no to Sacred Foundry. Play Phelia. Blood Moon doesn't do much on board. I think I'm just buried to this card. Can't really double spell here. How do I beat this? The answer might just be I don't. Unless my opponent just has Stone Cold Nothing. Alright, how do I beat this if my opponent has Stone Cold Nothing? Probably like this. Send in at the Ugin. I'm going to blink my Fable. I just want to generate more things that might live through Ugin cast triggers. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, you're just going to crack the Relic. Yeah, that's perfectly reasonable. So the -11 is win the game. Let's hope my opponent does not get to that. Okay, gain some life. Alright, return the Devourer of Destinies to hand. Eldrazi Temple. Okay, that'll do. That means I'm losing 2 permanents here. I imagine Phelia and Fable? Yeah. 3 cards remaining in hand. My opponent has 9 power in play. I don't get to do the looting that I was hoping to do. I can blow up some lands, but this is now here. I can hit that down to 9. I can play Recruiter of the Guard, Solitude, pitch White Orchid Phantom, lose a body in combat to Sowing Myco Spawn, keep this from ultimating. But I think this ship has sailed on this game for me. Let's try to get the next one. Now that I'm on the play, Prismatic Ending is a little better at taking out the Expedition map type cards. I'm willing to do those on the play by getting rid of. Just trim a couple of Phlages since my opponent is playing a bunch of main deck relics. Well, I can Phelia on turn 2, but I'm not interacting with my opponent's lands. Actually, I can't even Phelia. Well, okay, I can Phelia on turn 2 this way. Let's try it. Could be a time where I end up Witch Enchanter, like playing Witch Enchanter as a land, trying to blink it with a Flicker Wisp. Just kind of be aware of that. Got another Devourer of Destiny reveal. My opponent will do that in their upkeep. 3 cards headed to exile. All dudes. So opponent has a soul land, but otherwise did not make a play. I'm into attempting to get Phelia going and hope it goes somewhere. Opponent just making a spawn with Warping Whale, potentially bridging them to Sowing Myco Spawn or something. Ugh. You got it. See what they tutor up. Really like an untapped land. Opponent has chosen Torpor Orb. Thanks, I hate it. Obviously very, very good against my deck. Vial goes up. I hit an untapped land. So I had planned on blinking this land. I might be doing that later. Well, I guess Torpor Orb. But I can give Flicker Wisp haste and kill Karn right now. No, I can't. This is a tapped land because it's a fucking mountain. Wow, that's rough. Yeah, that was not what I was looking for. Vial goes to Yard. So I'm going to play a new Vial. Go to combat. Attack Karn. Blink out this Vial for the +1/+1 counter. And then Phelia does the thing. Urza's Tower. Dismember. Yep. It specifically thought about that and not playing out the second Vial. But in theory, I was going to kill that Karn and unlock these. But that was not the reality of the situation. Oh, fuck, I shouldn't have ticked that up. No, it's fine. Yeah, this is still gonna work. So I will play Phelia, go to Punchies, attack Karn, trigger, blink out Torpor Orb, kill Karn, turn on Vial, move to end step. Phelia is about to return Torpor Orb, but with that trigger on the stack, I'm going to say yes, Flicker Wisp, and flicker out Ugin's Labyrinth to get rid of this Devourer of Destiny forever. Then my opponent will just have Tron, and I will cry. Not Tron! I dodged. I have 5 damage per turn here. The Ugin's Labyrinth comes back. A new Devourer of Destiny has been imprinted. That one can stay at 3. This one can go up to 2. Alright, you may absolutely return your Devourer of Destiny. Send in... I think I'm good with this. Make a Sacred Foundry as a land drop. Call it a turn. Kozilek's Command? Kozilek's Command. Was there not the option to do that in a way that just got rid of my Phelia for one of the modes? That seems strong. I don't know my opponent's hand, though, so that can be Tron now. So there's all 3. Fuck. Yeah. My Naked Flicker Wisp is not enough here. Send one of the vials up. That is a little bit too late. Also, I don't have blue. So I think I'm dead. Bam. Down to 6. So much mana. 3 life. I concede. Yeah, assuming I had blue mana and I stop all 3 of these things from happening at the same time, that's pretty cool. But now I think this plus this plus this is just too much. And we're done here. I believe that is a 1-4 league. We made a good shot at it, but we came short in most of our matches. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this one up here. Overall thoughts on the deck list. It feels to me like this is a middle ground between 2 existing decks that doesn't do anything better than the existing decks. If you want to be the end game Blink deck, I think Overlord of the Baelmerk in black offers you so much. And the existing Boros energy decks that are lower to the ground, I think have better reach in terms of finishing the game off with direct damage and a more aggressive curve. I don't think this deck is bad necessarily, but it existing in a middle space between 2 existing well-tuned archetypes makes me wonder, like, what is the benefit of staying in this build? And I don't think that that benefit is strong enough. In terms of the mana, 20 lands plus 4 vials feels actively greedy here. Legacy D&T, when it is 60 cards, tends to be about 23 lands, so you are potentially shorting on lands. I could see Aether Vials becoming Ragavans rather than just being Vials. The Vials were very good in some matches, but I wonder if just having other ways to be aggressive early is just so important that you want to go down that route. I was impressed by the sideboard cards today. I, generally speaking, like the sideboard. Iron Conqueror and White Orchid Phantom, and I think Deafening Silence all had their moments. But I believe the one match that we won was fully won by sideboard cards rather than kind of the main deck configuration. I will say I am interested in playing with this card some more. I don't think this is a card that you necessarily want to max out on or anything, but this is a pretty powerful singleton, and if you give it haste via Arena of Glory or some other means, and this comes out of nowhere, seems good. Like, if this comes off a vial and your opponent doesn't know it's coming, holy moly. All right, with that, I think I'm going to call it a day, folks. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day as well. See ya!